This is Susan Wilbanks with BlendedInsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic. Hello, bright soul. Thank you so much for joining me on another podcast. And for those of us who celebrate Thanksgiving, we have a holiday coming up. And I initially had another podcast scheduled for today, but then I realized I probably should do a podcast around boundaries and gratitude. So I decided to go ahead and record this one, and you'll get the other podcast next week. Here in Colorado, it is incredibly cold. We had a snowstorm come through and temperatures went into single digits, so everything froze, but it's okay. We have heat and lots to be grateful for. Last weekend, I also took a pranic healing Arhatic yoga prep class over the weekend, which was phenomenal. Really, really grateful for that. And so now I'm connecting into that community and doing study groups and all these beautiful things, all these new spiritual practices to develop and grow and evolve on the spiritual journey so that I can offer more to you. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And for Thanksgiving this week, my daughter and I are going to go out. We made reservations somewhere. Last year I cooked. This year we are going to go out, enjoy it with people we love, and have a beautiful time. And that is what we are planning to do. And I know this time of year is very stressful for many people. And I know there's been a lot of us who have lost loved ones over the years. And sometimes the holidays can be tough because we have those core memories with those people who are in spirit now. They're still around. They're just in spirit. And we want them to be in the physical body. So I understand that this can be a very challenging time. And I really do believe it's all about your perspective and how you choose to honor the day, honor where you are right now in your journey, honor your loved ones, spend time in gratitude for everything. Honestly, for everything, for people, for yourself, for your spiritual connection, for all of the things that you have. For me, this holiday season is my favorite, even though I'm really the last person in my family of origin still living, because my mother, she is still living, but she has dementia and she's in a home, and her memory is so far gone that engaging really is just not very productive. And anyone who has had a loved one who has dementia, you understand how that is. So there are other ways that I honor and connect with her, but trying to do it with someone who is ill, it just really doesn't have that impact or that result that one would expect when you're connecting with a loved one. And so the way that I do this is, if I am missing my loved ones, I can do an honoring practice. So the way that I would do this is I just sit quietly and connect with them and think about the great memories that we had together. And that brings a lot of joy and love to my heart. And then focusing myself back on what I have in this present day and what I appreciate. One of the things we always have is breath in our body. Our soul is still breathing this body because we do not have our completed mission yet. We are here for a purpose. And no matter how bad you think you have it, I can guarantee you there are millions of other people in the world that have it a lot worse than you. This is what I do for myself and remind myself of when I feel myself sinking into something that doesn't serve me, thought processes, patterns. The other thing that I do is connect to my spiritual practice. This is what's kept me going. This is what's kept me grounded over the years. So now that I've went to the Arhatic yoga prep class, I have a lot more practices that I've added into my daily routine for my spiritual practice. And for me, I'll get up, I'll move my body. Exercising your body is so incredibly important. And I know I harp on this, but I'm telling you, it's so important, especially if you're feeling down. When you exercise and you actually move your body in a meaningful way, you actually expand your health rate. So you push anything that's on the outer layers of your aura out. So you actually do a little bit of healing on yourself when you exercise your physical body. And I know it also has there's physical benefits. It makes you stronger, all those things that go along with exercise. But there's also an energetic component. And so one of the things that we do to ourselves is we bring our own selves down with our thoughts. We really do. And all feelings are valid. All emotions are valid. But the more that you become aware and conscious, you'll notice when you are dwelling on something that you're making bigger, because our thoughts are so incredibly powerful. We're powerful, energetic beings. So I will fill my day with things that serve me and make me feel good. The other thing that will not serve you is, and most of us we're not doing this, but I'm going to share it because it is important. If you're on social media or you're on sites watching people's highlight reels of how amazing their life is and what they're doing, and it's making you feel bad about yourself, notice that and get off of it. Because here's the thing, people don't really post what's really going on behind the scenes. They post their highlight reels. So it really isn't reality. And I'm not saying this is true for everyone, but I will say in general, and me as a clairvoyant, I can see straight through things. So for me, it's doubly irritating for me because I can see right through it. And I'm an authentic person. Of course, I'm not going to go out there and tell everybody my darkest days because I don't want to bring the whole world down. And also, it's private. That's one of the things with the social media nonsense is no one has a private life anymore. When I say no one, of course, I'm talking in generalizations. You and I have a private life. But there's this, I want to be seen and I want to make everyone think I have this amazing life, but there's an emptiness behind it. And so for those of us who are sensitive and clairvoyant and empathic, we can feel that and it doesn't feel good. So I don't spend much time on any of those platforms at all. And I would encourage you to set aside time for yourself during the day because you could be hosting, you could be traveling, there's all these things you'd have to do. So I would say set aside those times to ground you to your spiritual practice and get into your heart and be thankful for this journey because in reality, it's incredibly short. We are here such a short time, and the lessons that you learn and the things that you learn and the growth that you develop in this incarnation goes with the soul when the soul leaves the body. So there is no minute wasted, and there is really nothing. How can I say this? There is not really a benefit or a higher purpose to dwelling and feeling sorry for yourself. So there's been times over the last, couple of months, and I think I'm sharing this in an upcoming podcast because I've recorded some of my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and so I'm not really sure when I set them to air. In any case, it doesn't matter. There was some information that came out, and it made me miss my dad. And so I spent some time really missing my dad, but I didn't let myself sit there and dwell. I got a little emotional. I sat, I meditated. I think I took a salt bath. I went for a walk. I moved my body, and then I came back to center and gratitude. And this is how I keep myself moving the emotion and not getting it stuck while continuing to be here and fulfill my mission, because if he's not in the body anymore, that means his mission was done. But him leaving doesn't mean my mission ended. I'm still here, so I still have a mission to complete. And the same is true for you. The other thing I wanted to talk about is being grateful for yourself, for the way that you're showing up, for all of the tremendous things that you've endured and came through, and you're continuing to be a heart-centered being here trying to make the world better and choosing not to repeat patterns that harm others and harm yourself. This is something that you and I have committed to, and it's lonely on the extra mile. I've said it before. It's not the majority that does this. It's the minority. And I really want to thank you for being here and doing this work, because the more of us do it, the brighter the planet gets. And we also have a positive impact on each other because we keep each other going during this time. So the other thing I want to talk about is boundaries, because I know that some of you will have to be with people who really have a hard time with boundaries. And most of us are kind of the black sheep of the family. And when your light is really bright, first of all, before I forget, make sure that you isolate your aura before you go around people who don't do any spiritual practice. Because what happens is if you have a really big aura and you've been doing a regular spiritual practice on a consistent basis, and you're meditating and you're serving and you're giving to charity and you're tithing and you're sowing into your spiritual community and whoever's feeding you spiritually, your aura gets really big. And when you go around people and they enter your aura, it stretches their energy centers, whether they want to or not. And if they have been marinating on feeling sorry for themselves or anger or greed or jealousy, when the chakra opens, when the energy center opens, those feelings and thoughts and emotions come out. That's why you're in a great place, you're blissed out, and you're just minding your own business, and someone blows up on you, or they're angry or agitated, and you're being so kind and peaceful, and you cannot understand what's going on. That's what's going on. So make sure that you isolate your aura. And how do you do that? You can do it by simply mentally commanding your aura to isolate for 2 hours, 3 hours. Or you can just, if you cross your arms and cross your legs, your aura automatically pulls in. There are ways to do it. For me, I just command it mentally, not out loud, because if they hear you, good Lord, we already are the black sheeps, the weird ones. Let's not say it out loud and then give them more to talk about. So even like if I'm going to the gym or going in public, I will shield myself and isolate my aura, especially with these higher spiritual practices I've been doing. And that's the other thing. Do shields. Do shields on yourself. And that's really easy to do. I've talked about that in previous podcasts. You can just imagine yourself in an egg of light. That's super easy. Or you can imagine or tornado spinning around your aura so that it's spinning so fast that nothing can come into your aura because everything's being pushed out. So those are two really easy things to do. And then when you're with people, let's just say they start asking you about things that are private and you don't want to talk about. One of the easiest things that I've just adopted over the years is just saying, I'm not in a space to talk about that. Or when people start throwing up all their issues and want me to drop everything and do a reading or a healing, I'll just say, I'm not in the space to do that right now. I want to just hang out and enjoy your company and sit in gratitude. I'm just not in the space. And I've never had any problems with that. People genuinely respect that and the conversation moves on. The other thing you can do is if things are getting really heated, you can actually excuse yourself. Say you have to go to the restroom, you can leave, break that conversation, break that up. Or you can just say, let's put this on the parking lot. I want to have a light conversation. I want to enjoy myself. It's been a rough year. I just want to relax. That genuinely works most of the time. The other thing, if people are asking you about controversial things, want to know things that really it's just none of their business or something you don't want to talk about, something very easy to say is, I've just decided I'm not going to go into that with people, and then change the subject. It works. The other thing you can do is if someone's being insulting and you can feel it, you can feel that jab, you can just ask, I don't understand what you mean. Tell me what you mean by that. People get really uncomfortable. It puts them on the spot. And if they just say it in the same way again, I just ask again, I'm not understanding. Tell me what you mean by that. Usually people get really uncomfortable and the conversation changes. And it's not that we're trying to make them uncomfortable. We're just trying to keep our space protected and keep people being kind and appropriate because sometimes they're just not. So if someone is asking you something that you don't want to talk about, another thing you can just say is, I'd prefer not to say, and then just move on. Or, that's just private. I'm uncomfortable talking about it. People usually don't press. The other thing you can just say is, I'd rather not get into it, but thank you for asking, and change the subject. The last one I wanted to talk about is if someone is trying to pin you down to commit to something, because this happens sometimes. What I say is, let me think about it. I need to look at my schedule, which is true. I actually really do need to look at my schedule. Or I'll just say, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. And that usually works. And if none of these examples seem to resonate, just get on the internet and look up boundary phrases, ways to set boundaries. There's a wealth of information on the internet. And over the years, I've studied it and just found what works for me. And I don't have any problems with it anymore. And honestly, bring yourself back to center, knowing that people are honestly just doing the best they can. A lot of people go through this entire existence without doing healing work. They repeat patterns, they repeat destructive ways, and they're recycling the same thoughts, and they aren't doing anything to move themselves forward. And that's probably what their soul incarnated to do. I mean, we don't know. You and I aren't that way, but everybody is on their own journey, and they're doing the very best that they can. And when I take that approach, it helps me to have tremendous compassion for people that are stuck and they don't want to help. And the other thing is, it's not your job to help. And I do not offer anything unless someone asks. They would have to ask me and genuinely want to know, because you can tell the difference when someone is just trying to pick, or they just want to swim in their drama and waste your time. You know that. So you intuitively know when it's time to set a boundary, what's worth your time and what's not. And honestly, say a prayer before you go into your holiday gathering if it's going to be with people who you've had problems with in the past. Set a good intention, say a prayer of protection, and just know, these people, we love them, right? We love them for the most part, and they're here for a reason. there's lessons that we need to learn, and we can always look at the brighter side. It's a choice. I mean, you don't have to, but for me, when I'm looking at the brighter side, I feel better. I show up in a very grounded and positive way, and it makes my life a lot easier and better. And at the end of the day, I just want to be a peaceful and kind person, and I want to spend time with people who I love and who appreciate me, and I want to make the world a brighter and better place. And I want to go through the holidays focusing on what really matters, and that is connection and giving and making the world a better place. Like I keep saying, being a beneficial presence on the planet, resting, recovering, being a generous person, and living the virtues, living the golden rule. That is what I want to do. And if someone else is not doing that and choosing not to do it, then I'm going to limit my time around them. And if I have to spend time with them, then I'm going to do all the practices I just shared to make it the most positive experience I can possibly make. So that is all I wanted to share. And we're going to go into a healing, and I will flood you with beautiful, divine healing energy. So you can uncross your arms and legs and focus on your breathing. And I am going to run shields. And I'm going to isolate your aura. And I am grounding you. Okay, and so it is. Friends, I am so grateful for you, and I want to thank everyone who has taken the time to leave me a review, send me a donation. I really want that to be returned to you many, many times, spiritually, materially, and financially. And if you do celebrate holiday next week, I hope that you have a beautiful holiday. Please stay centered in gratitude and thank yourself for showing up and coming here and doing all these things, and do something kind for someone. And it doesn't have to be something big. It can be simply acknowledging someone, telling them you appreciate them, something little, because the more of us do that, the brighter every place gets. I mean, don't you like to be sincerely appreciated? Not something phony, authentic. Authentic gratitude and appreciation goes a long, long way. And I know you're an authentic being, so that's the only way that you're going to be showing gratitude, because that's who you are. And I want to wish you a beautiful week. Take care. Bye-bye.